Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to Starbase Expanded episode number 25, where we go over all of the support facilities and offsite places that help Starbase run the way it should. Today we have Alex with us.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
And we also have Jake.
Hey everyone, yeah, I hope you're all doing really well.
We have got Event Dudes as well.
Good day.
And Indy is on questions and donations, so be sure to keep her busy.
Hey, everybody.
All right, so it's going to be a pretty decent one today, I think. We've got a few changes here and there. And we're going to start over in the village where we're seeing a pretty decent amount of work. We've got Starship Park getting further and further along. We've got the apartment complex, which is also getting very close to finished on the outside. We've got the old fleet maintenance lot over here, which is also getting closer and closer to finished and basically telling us exactly what it is, since none of us know. And of course, still more work going on the extra houses that are coming in. So over at the apartments, we're seeing a lot of finishing work happening, basically. So you can see that they've been pouring the sidewalks here to connect to all of the stairs that we saw finished off just a few weeks ago. They have installed all of the trees along the outer edge, and we should be seeing some more landscaping going in to really finalize it, and hopefully that wall will be coming down soon. Oops.
What'd you do?
Well, showed something that was supposed to go later.
Sneak peek.
Yeah. So we can
You all
see
saw
over.
nothing.
Exactly. Just shh. So we can see over in the SLS area where they've got the mock-up. Basically, they had a nice little party. We can see them getting it all torn down. Looks like they had some live music and a lot of fun. I think, Jake, you were kind of saying that they were having a party here and up in one of the mega bays and kind of all over, huh?
Well, yeah, for Starbase, this is where they're having this party behind in the Tiki Bar garden area, and they were doing it at all their other sites as well on the same night. You know, over at the Cape, over in California, literally every SpaceX site, they were all having big parties because of the IPO, and yeah, and then I think from what I saw as well for this party in Starbase, they actually put a big projection on Skip 20, which is kind of cool to see.
Oh, that's cool. All right, so over at Starship Park, we are seeing a good amount of work. We did cover this in the weekly, but we'll cover it again here, of course. Not seeing a whole lot going on in the staircase area, but up on top, we are seeing some form work being put in to finalize this wall here from there to the other side. So that'll be going in soon, and then it looks like they will also be putting a small wall, or what we theorize to possibly be maybe a bench section going in. So that'll be interesting to see. I'm sure they'll have that probably finished off by next week. or at least for our next flyover on Saturday, which, while we're talking about it, is at 9 a.m. Central, so be sure to be there. Now it looks like we are seeing some work along the front as well. What do we think? We think this might just be a wall, or...
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I'd imagine they're probably going to do the same with this wall as they're doing here. It kind of looks like it's set up to be that way. Either that or it'll be a railing, kind of like this.
You can see at the lower left corner the orange caps on the rebar starter bars, so it looks like it'll probably just be
Oh, yeah.
another wall.
Yep.
And if you look carefully along that tap railing, you can see them. So yeah, it looks like it'll be another cast in place wall.
Good catch. I didn't see those in there. Now we're also seeing a really neat metal insert going on here. So it looks like they're working on the facade and getting it all prettied up.
Yep, and they're welding the one for the opposite side towards the middle of this. Down below, there's right there. So
Bob brought up the idea when we were talking about this the other day that would look an awful lot like the door in the Starship for the Pez dispenser.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, now you say that, it does actually kind of look like it.
Looks like they're already starting to put up some paneling and stuff on the inside as well. We just can't see it from this angle.
for that, just they're using that for forms. For that,
Well, probably for underneath, right? You think inside here?
they have the corrugated decking set, but yeah, if they're pouring any concrete walls, it very much looks like a rest stop that they have on Texas
Right.
Interstate. So
Yeah, so that's basically what we were talking about during the weekly. Is we're expecting that they're likely going to put the male and female bathrooms in here, and then also some vending machines and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm super curious how the rest of the site is going to look, because I'd like to think they're going to have a pair of vehicles here, and probably the manifolds that they've been holding on to, and maybe some Raptor engines as well, maybe.
I feel like ship and booster is gonna go out here. That's my thought.
Yeah, I could see that.
I had
I
a
guess
question.
they could put, I guess they could put the Raptors and manifolds up in that left corner as well. Then, well, assuming they put any Raptors here at all.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a while back when that road was open, they wouldn't let us go up to the ships when it was like really windy. So I don't know if that's going to be like an issue, like moving forward for this type of stuff. If they're going to have the ship and the booster there.
I'd imagine if they do, they're probably going to really like bolt them down. Maybe weld them into place or something like that. What do you think, Alex? What do you think they'd have to do to make sure that those wouldn't go anywhere?
I'd probably, if they're just display items, I'd put a steel frame inside of them.
I say, I suppose they could use guy wires as well to assist with it, because you see that other rocket displays.
Yeah, or just put them horizontal. It's less impressive, granted, but
Couldn't you just fill with sand or water, whatever.
I mean, potentially, sure.
If
I
they're
mean-
somewhat permanent.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're doing something out here in either side, because you've got these. We saw some services and stuff being put in. Just not sure exactly what these are, but looks like you got one set on either side.
Yeah, the only thing that event did interesting with doing that is then you're fully dependent on the long term how the structures age. Rather, if you put a frame inside of it, you can engineer the frame and just essentially have the vehicle as a skin hanging off of a. But they know their structures a heck of a lot better than any of us do.
Yeah, they tried that water trick with Starhopper, so they probably wouldn't do that. Maybe sand or concrete is what I was thinking, but yeah, an exterior stand makes a lot more sense though.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the one in Hawthorne. It looks like it's pretty much just the vehicle's with it sitting on its normal legs. So
Yeah, so we're seeing this exterior wall beginning to go up. We've got all the bricks laid out here. Just waiting for the bricklayers to come in and start getting it up there. We can see that it extends all the way from this side out and around, basically right to the edge of this piece here. And then we've got another piece right in here already set up. So pretty much all the foundation for the wall is finished. It'd be interesting to see if they put any chargers in here.
I think the stub outs are still there in that picture, unless they ripped them out. Yep.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to do it. You know, maybe like 2 or 3, kind of like over at the school where they have just a few of them.
Yeah, I'm also shocked they went with cement block. That's kind of an odd choice considering they like to pour and delete concrete on a regular basis. So.
Right. Yeah, it's a different change. We don't see this very often, and surprisingly, we're seeing it at 2 different spots this week. We've seen it here and at the launch site for that new building in what we expect may still be the water storage area. So yeah. Slowly but surely, they have a couple more months by what they are expecting to get it done. They are supposed to have it done sometime in August, so roughly about 2 months away. So yeah, we should see progress and finality sooner rather than later. There's a good shot of the front of the apartment. We can just talk about that real quick. We can see that they are starting to put up some areas for concrete work around the front. I believe they're basically kind of getting a couple of entrances fleshed out for a set of doors that are here and another set that's over here. But not as much work as I kind of expected. They've been basically at this point up front for, I believe, 2 weeks now.
I thought last week they hadn't poured the footings yet for those small retaining walls.
Yeah, they hadn't done this, but it just looks like they haven't done much. You know, they had, I think this right here was kind of cut out. And I think this side may have been also, but not all the way back here as it is now. And same with over here.
Yeah,
Looks
they
like
had only done the excavation. Now they actually poured the footings.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a side gate there for a walking path as well. On the left side. Similar to the right side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually shocked to how well that came out compared to the renders we saw, I don't know how many years ago now, 2 years ago, minus the fact that they added an additional floor.
Yeah, and I've got more pictures, so we'll get back to the apartment here in just a little bit. But now we're getting into where the old fleet maintenance building was. Looks like we're curing concrete on 3 full pads. Still not much of an idea of what they are putting there, though.
No, there's not a lot of anything. Conduit, plumbing, anything going. It's just like a couple pads for, I don't know, storing vehicles or something.
Yeah, I mean, we did see some electrical and what looked like possibly sewerage pipe and stuff like that, but not much. Not much was installed here, which was kind of surprising.
They look
Yeah.
like they're the foundations for like the sort of the warehouse like framing that they have on the right.
Yeah, it could be, and that's the thing. It could be a new fleet maintenance area. They just wanted to update it or switch it up a little bit. Just really not sure yet. We have seen a lot of work going on here. Of course, we saw this all poured. We saw some planter boxes put in. They added some sod, I believe, as of last week. And still yet to put up the covers, the sunshades. But there's another piece of form work that I didn't notice before. Looks like they're probably just going to be running the wall around, I'd imagine. No real extra work over here this week. In previous weeks, we had seen this brought in. We had seen all this happening and a little bit more of trees installed and stuff like that. As you can see, these are all brand new since they have all the stands to help them stand up. Same with these over here. These were put in just, I believe, about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And yeah, not a lot to report. They've basically pretty much finished off this area. Just little stuff still going. Oh, well, hey, while we're here, Jake, would you like to talk about this one? Or Alex, whoever wants to take it.
I nominate Darth. No. Yeah, they're using those brackets to support while they're framing up the roof trusses for the building. And yeah, the beams in the foreground on the ground are probably the bottom of the truss beams on the bottom of the frame to the left, right in the foreground. That we're like that one that has all. And
I believe so. We were basically saying that these were just kind of temporary to hold these trusses and kind of stack them up and get them ready. That way they're just not completely jamming up the aisleways and stuff, right?
I mean, my opinion is that they're going to be as soon as they have like the center where they already put the final columns up in the center, that they're going to do that around the crane sections. so that they will tie the building together before they raise the cranes and anchor them to the structure. Pretty much what they've done everywhere on this. So they probably don't need the additional height to raise this. They'll need the additional height when they're distributing out like the roof decking and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And you guys were saying something about these aren't actual full height, so they'll probably lift them up and add another section to them before they go up.
No, they're once a beam is across the bottom, it's just that size is the final roof height, as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
Because the column that if you go to the aerials, there's that center column that they put in, that quad.
Mm-hmm.
And the top of the building is one of these levels that you're looking at, that 30-foot span, till you hit the bottom of the roof truss, which potentially is going to be the floor beams for that top penthouse space.
So these will be floor beams for the penthouse.
No, that's the roof.
No, okay. Yes, okay.
That top beam is the roof decking, as far as I know.
Okay, perfect. So basically the penthouse will be a 30-foot tall
Yeah.
structure. Yeah, okay.
So
Just
the
like
beams on the
go-
floor would be the roof of the penthouse.
the floor of the penthouse. The penthouse would be what you're looking at. That would be, because if you look at Mega Bay 2, it's essentially, when you look in there, you see the trusses. It's built around the trusses as a roof.
Right.
So, at least.
That's going to be a grand party area right there.
Max, you wanna
Go on.
Sorry, Alex. This is Sean's photo, correct?
Correct.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah, you
There's
can
that-
see. I'm just scrolled in so we can see it a little bit better.
Sorry, Alex, you were saying?
No, I don't know what I was rambling about. It's
Something
that's
about
what
party
it is.
level.
Yes and no. It's some of the shots from Robert Road, it looked like they were filling in. Others of them, it looked like just the structures around the trusses had a floor. So there may or may not be a full penthouse span up there.
It's going to be
Well,
interesting.
if it didn't have a floor, it wouldn't have a leg to stand on, would it?
We can also see that yellow cladding that we've been talking about for the last few weeks around the elevator shafts.
The gypsum for
Mm-hmm.
the firewall for the elevator shafts.
Yep. We can see it up front here as well, just barely in this shot.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same fiber boards that they're using for the facade on the parking structure on the apartment building. It's an exterior.
I think BJ looking into it the other day, and
it's
shaft liners.
except it's the Georgia Pacific. It's the same line of gypsum products. The shaft liner is just for the fire rating.
Very cool. And then while we're on Jake's picture that he sent in earlier, we've got a ground level shot of the Super Crusher. And it looks like we've got some work going on down here, which is looks a whole lot like some welding.
Yeah, that might be the. We can't really see properly there, but that might be them welding on the those clever structures that we saw a few flyovers ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not attached to the pistons they got installed on the walkway there.
And you can almost make something out right there. Almost. So close, but yet so far.
I don't know if this photo shows it. Does it go up any higher? I can't remember. Yeah, I don't know if it was I don't know if it was pointed out on the Sunday live stream, but they've actually started disconnecting the can crusher cap from this test article.
Oh.
Well, disconnecting the pistons from the cap to the test stand.
These big ones right here.
Yeah, the diagonal ones.
Mm-hmm. So we think maybe they're going to take the crusher cap off, take the rods out before doing whatever test we think is designed for down here for what they're like installing, possibly.
Yeah, I'd say it's entirely possible we see that happen. Remove most of the hardware out of the way and just go for a probably fairly destructive test.
Because that was
So what
Go
they
ahead.
weld those triangles to the base, and then they put the those other thingamabobs in line to pull it out. Is that what they're trying to do?
Think so. Yeah, I think so. Although I don't know if anyone's worked it out yet, or exactly why they might try and pull out the bottom like that.
Yeah.
Why do you expect them to test a failure?
I'm not fully, in fact, I'm just thinking it's a possibility. If they start getting, that's if they remove all the other test hardware out of the way. I mean, they might not, or they might. I don't know yet.
I mean, if there'd have to be a good reason for them to go to failure, wouldn't there? I mean, it just seems odd for me just to randomly, okay, now we're gonna burst something for lulz.
Hey, why not? It served its purpose. Scrap it easy. All right, we'll go ahead on to the next picture that was just put up as well. Now that's an interesting one. Anybody care to say what those are?
These stacks for the compressor hall at the ASU for $1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also put up the other picture if you want to compare it back, but that's the same style look that we've seen throughout all of the renders, and it just makes sense that that would be the auxiliary or whatever they're going to use it for stacks out of the top.
Yeah, so we should definitely see a bit more on the flyover this week for sure. All right, so heading back into the village. We're back over at the apartment complex. We can see a little bit better shot of the front here. And this is what we were talking about. There's a set of stairs there, and they're kind of getting it prepped for the entryway. Same as here, set of doors with a little entryway. I'm sure there'll be a few steps and stuff here. Looks like they have the railing installed.
Lovely.
Yeah. Looks like it's getting painted and set up. This side looks pretty much finished. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and that yellow gypsum hanging is from the same family that the shaft liner.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we got good views of that being put together as they were doing all of this exterior work. We could see like yellow board going up, and then different stages of prep and finishing being put onto it. It's an interesting
It's a
something.
plant. It's a planter. Those are drain lines. So that when they do a leak test, they also extend them above grade, so that when you're filling it in, you don't accidentally shovel dirt in them.
I mean, makes sense.
And one of them, you can see the stack going up between the floors.
Mm-hmm. All the way. Speaking of plants, we got the hanging plants.
The hanging garden.
Mm-hmm. The hanging plastics.
Yeah, I was about to say when I was doing the drive around Starbase, I'm like, those aren't real. I don't know if anybody else knew about that.
They really don't look real. That's what we've been saying for months now. I just can't see them putting in real plants. I mean, it's possible, but I just don't see it there. So yeah, a little bit better look at the sidewalk going in. As we can see, there's still a little bit more to go. You got to come up for the crosswalk. Yeah, they're really getting the finishing touches, and we're starting to see more cars parked in here as well. That's good. A little better look there.
Has anybody looked at the GIS to see if that sidewalk is a public sidewalk? The one right below your mouse?
Yeah, still public, because we've got the gate here, and we've got the gate over here, but otherwise this is still open to the public. If I remember, they have a sign that kind of suggests that you're not, but as far as I know, they haven't cut it off yet.
Risa, you planning on taking a stroll down that sidewalk?
It's more about like where I can and cannot be. So I probably should look at that GIS map just to be sure.
Well, yeah, just like that last drive around that you did. We remember you came down here and did a little U-ey down here and came back.
Just act like you belong. No one will know.
You're in a white truck. You blend in. All right, and we can see some framing going up on these two houses. I know this one's now been poured as well. No framing just yet. They make quick time once they get into them. I mean, we were just seeing this one framed just a couple weeks ago, and they're already getting the walls all finished, roof getting on there. The sushi bar, for anyone who didn't know where it is.
Akira? Or
Yeah, it was something like that. Hiroki or Hikara, something like that.
Hikaru? Hikaru.
Hikaru.
Yeah, Hikaru, like the Grandmaster. That's how you remember.
Yep.
Right.
Very cool.
We have lots of donations, by the way.
Yeah, go right ahead and get any questions while you're at it.
I will. We have no questions at the moment. Everyone's just enjoying looking at all the photos and commenting on the official terms like thingamabob and whatchamacallit.
Mm-hmm.
But we do want to thank Martin for his 22-pound donation. We want to thank Andy Alder for his 2-pound donation. And he says, choo-choo, choo-choo. Turtle Sanctuary donated 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Turtle Sanctuary. Yazada donated $5 and says, hi, Matt, Alex, and Jake, and Event Dudes, and Indy and Mauricio, of course. And then we have Nadi, who donated $5 Australian. And they said, Struth, it's another Starbase Expanded. We also have a $15 donation from DMHMT, who says, so much joy from your photos and the analysis that accompanies them. Thank you all so much for your generosity. We truly appreciate it.
Yes, we do. All
And no
right.
questions at the moment. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So we're over at the contractor lot at the moment, and we are almost at capacity. The 2 tiny homes that we saw come in recently and needed to be installed have been put in, and now we're just waiting for one more, and they'll be completed in here finally. Now, this is one of the lots where they are keeping some of the steel for the Gigabay. And as we can see, it's starting to clear out as they are getting much closer to getting that bad boy completed. They're working on the final level. And as we just saw, the contractor housing area. And then we have the old Ad Astra school over here. Looking very empty currently. Although it is summertime, so we wouldn't expect it to be too full at the moment.
There's supposed to be coming up on a few days a update for the library, which is supposed to be in there. So I have to wait and see what that happens, but that should be a good update for what they plan on doing and when. I know we had pretty much a confirmation they were going to do it. So
Matt, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Nope, no Matt.
But you are lighting up.
So he still lights up the room.
Oops. Sorry about that. I muted the microphone itself. My bad. So I was asking, so we are thinking, or is that going to be this whole building right here will be the library now?
well, they also are going to get all of that land in front of that area, so I'm kind of curious of what their eventual plan is. That's why I'm kind of curious to see if they kind of leak into this whole library update. Oh, by the way, we also think we're going to get this other land, which is going to be blah, 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 at Astra Kindergarten or whatever. And so the library is going to be here in that. I don't know if I'm going to get that lucky, but that's what I'm hoping for. But that's the idea so far, yes.
Very cool. This is something that we saw built over the last few months as well. Very cool. Whoever is doing this, it's a absolutely gigantic deck that he's built over his house and everything. So I would imagine if it does not belong to a member of the space community that we know, it is probably somebody that is trying to capitalize on the launches.
2
Yeah.
hot tubs.
Right.
We also saw some capitalization go wrong. It was that corner lot next to the Ad Astra school, and they decided to go with a pretty good CBRE organization. However, apparently they didn't read, I don't know, regulations, and they did a whoopsie on their promo.
Oh gosh.
What does their whoopsie look like?
Well, it looks like a violation of maybe going to jail because you flew in restricted airspace. Kind of a whoopsie.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
It's a big whoopsie.
That's an uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay. So moving down just a little ways, as you can see, the corner of the contractor area is over here. Then we've got the entrance, well, one of the entrances to the school whoops. Let's go back again. So we're not sure exactly what's going to be going on or being installed and built out here just yet, but as we can see, they are set up and ready for something, that's for sure.
Yeah, this was mentioned as phases for the Ad Astra school in the filings for tabs, so I'm expecting other phases of this to happen, whether that's close to the original school or whatever else. We also had Shotwell kind of shooting off some stuff about the expansion for Rio West, so that was kind of nice.
So now, is this the lot you were talking about that made the oopsie?
Yeah, so if you remember, we had I don't know who it was, SSG or somebody had the photo of it, and we're like, what is all this about?
Yeah,
You know, all kind of
Mars
thing.
Academy or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
exactly. So now they've gone with CBRE to kind of promo that lot as a, you know, you can build here, you can, you know, put your own name here on your coffee shop or whatever mixed use business item you're going to put here for the launches. Come here, there's going to be at least 25 launches a year. That is, you know, yada yada, that kind of thing.
Right.
Then they decided to do a promo shot with a drone, which is fine, except for in this area, which is completely not fine. So
Yeah. Oopsie.
I remember. I mean, a funny story. Back in the day, I did do a drone shot. I don't know if you all remember when I would do Massey's with the drone. It was way
I
back in the
remember.
day. And there was this one time where they took off the TFR because they just didn't renew it. And so we're like, whoa, there's no TFR. So, I mean, technically, I can't fly the drone. So I did, but they were out there pretty fast. SpaceX security. And they were just like, yeah, you're flying in the TFR. But then when they looked into it, like, oh, you're right. There's no TFR. And so that was pretty. But yeah, after that, I just told myself I'm not even gonna fly if there's no TFR. I'm just gonna use a plane.
Somebody got bumped down to janitor that day.
It's actually happened a few times where their TFR like runs out or expires, and then they don't have one already set. So then
Right.
they started doing those blanket ones.
Lazy. So we did see a little bit of electrical being kind of tapped off right here, which, as we were saying, there's going to be something out here, just nothing yet. And we could see a couple transformers here. I believe there's another one here that's hidden. And then we can see some out here as well. So they are ready for it. Not much going on at the school. As we know, it's summertime, so they're basically out right now. They finished this up a while ago, so we'll probably not likely see many changes here, at least for a while. And then over on this lot, that is supposed to be the field house and field itself. They are slowly getting things going. And I do mean slowly. It almost feels like they've been at this stage for like a month or so now.
yeah, that's a weird one. I would expect it by now to have some inkling of, oh, it's a soccer field, oh, it's a football, oh, you know, it's actually a multi-use field. Nope, just nothing. It's just a dirt patch thing.
Right. It's kind of interesting. I mean, it looks like, they might have a track around the outside if we go by this, but I mean, at the same time, that could just be a driveway to get around the outside and not screw up the inside. So, yeah, not sure on this one just yet. Again, they are going very slow. They are cleaning up the old concrete spoils area.
Pickleball.
There you go. And moving down a little bit farther, it looks like they're getting pretty close to having this one basically done. Looks like they're kind of straightening it all out, getting it super level. As we've seen over the last few weeks, them bringing in just truck after truck after truck to bring it up a little ways and get everything leveled, and it looks like they're getting there. Doesn't look like they're bringing in any more trucks currently. And we can see more work going on with the highway being expanded and extended.
Yeah, and speaking of highway, they are all done with all of their permits. I've been waiting for weeks now on the actual approval, but they have not dropped it for whatever reasons.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think SpaceX's one was approved. Well, all the documents came in basically 2 days before they then approved it. It was bang bang. We also have seen on the the land swap area, they have released 75% of the credits. So it's not a delay on that either because they have enough credits and they got a sweetheart deal on the highway anyways of only something like 44 credits needed for what should have otherwise been a lot more for emergent wetlands.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, and this lot too, it's still there's no infrastructure, there's nothing. They're just building it up for random insert your parking lot, building, Rio West, school adjacent, expansion of just putting more storage in here.
And that is a good point. We absolutely have not seen any trenching or pile caps or anything going on here. It's literally just been building it up and leveling.
That's exactly what they did at Rio West to the entire site before they started doing the roads and everything else.
Yeah, I feel Real West had a weird like crossover where they were gonna build a couple items, well, they still haven't built one of them, and then they did this whole apartment sneak it in sort of situation. So maybe that's what's going on here. They're just getting ready for whatever they can't decide on because they don't know yet.
And
Rio East.
Yeah. Wasn't Rio West originally going to be commercial only, and then they just was like, nope, changed our minds?
Well, they only made
it was always going to be a mixed development.
I just remember when they first started putting it in, we're like, oh yeah, there's going to be like almost like a mall and lots of businesses and stuff. And then we started seeing apartments and homes started being fleshed out, and we're just like, wait, what?
In the original plans they released, there was supposed to be a shopping center, small shopping center of some sort, and the restaurant, and like a cafe or something, but nothing, not really a strip mall situation.
and it was private, I think, almost from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe people were kind of speculating and hoping that maybe it would be public, and then it was like, nope.
Yeah, I'm still
There was a good pause. Go ahead, Vindudes.
I'm still expecting on that corner when you first enter that Rio West that there's going to be a grocery store or some convenience store for the residents there.
Yeah, I would imagine so too. It just makes sense.
I think something like that is the biggest thing they're missing in this community to keep people happy is somewhere convenient to shop for little things. I mean, it'd be nice to have a grocery store in your area, but just the little things would be great to get. But I believe the in between what we thought might be partially commercial to what it turned into, there was a pause, and I can't remember what she had said something about that. Gwen had said something about that, but I know there was a short pause, and then they picked back up with the housing stuff.
Kathy, in one of her presentations, said there is a cash flow issues that they're holding off for
that's
like
right.
6 months. And during that period is when it sort of was reimagined.
Yeah, and I think their in between fix for the grocery store is what happened with the old crane building, the bottom level. They just decided to put in that store there just for SpaceX. employees and families. Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah, this one. Which maybe that's why they're not starting on the store yet, since they have one sort of close.
Yeah, that's been my theory the whole time, is they just went ahead and converted that bottom level to a store, and it can serve basically the community until they decide to actually build a standalone.
Yep, so not much going on at Rio West as we are talking about it. We are seeing this parking lot starting to clear out, which is kind of nice. It'll be great for some of these residents to have a little extra parking. But also proves that they are winding down and really getting things finalized.
Got a question for you from Felix,
Sure.
who also donated $5. Thank you very much. Felix is wondering, do we know if the housing for SpaceX employees is free, or do they have to rent those houses and apartments? I wonder how they assign those.
I mean, I doubt that they're free. I'd imagine they pay something out of their pay, but what, I would have no idea.
Yeah,
And
wasn't Elon saying that when he did have a house there, he was paying like $50,000 a year or something like that?
are you talking about the box thing that he had bought?
Yeah, he actually had to pay for it.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, that was only $50,000 for the thing to buy it outright. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. He paid $50,000 for that box house.
I'd also point out that it would probably very much so depend on your status, who you are, what your family is, how much incentives they need to bring you over here if you're not already here. Are you a permanent worker? Are you kind of temporary? Is it in between? And then that also would dictate of what kind of apartment or duplex or situation that you would be involved in. And then I would assume there's some choice involved in that. We do know they're all SpaceX owned, except for maybe one or two that were kind of delved out. But I would expect that it's a part of the package when you're hired in any other benefit package like you would be in any other different organization.
This is from quite a ways back, but one of the people that worked for SpaceX that we knew had to get on a waiting list to get into housing, and then they would pay rent to SpaceX for it.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, building them isn't free. And people will be coming in and out for sure.
Part of it is the convenience. You're right there, so you're saving on gas going to and from work every day and all that kind of stuff. You're right there where you're working.
And I'd imagine your maintenance is taken care of as well. So you don't have to worry about your air conditioner going out or, a pipe busting or something like that. They'll be on it and you don't have to pay out of pocket.
I mean, it's a rental, so they better cover it.
Right. But that's what I mean. That's one of those perks, basically, along with being closer. You just don't have to really worry about any of that kind of stuff. Still nothing on the extension at the moment.
So about that, we did hear from Shotwell that when she was kind of pointing, she was in the penthouse, she was pointing towards Rio West, and she says, we have that development area, and we're going to sort of duplicate it, which is, I think, what we kind of suspected in the first place. You would have homes on the outside and kind of more, whatever, multifamily in the inside. But that kind of solidifies this idea that they're going to duplicate it.
Absolutely. I mean, it almost feels like it's been a sure shot that it's going to happen, just kind of a when. Although I am just kind of surprised, when you had the contractors and stuff here, why don't you just kind of have them start in on it, instead
Well,
of send them away. But go
I
ahead.
am curious if they're waiting. Again, all of these might be a couple different things they're waiting on, as SpaceX does, of course, all the time with everything. They're going to get, if they're going to get the land swap and when that's going to happen, then are they going to change their plans about what they eventually want all of this to work? And then they're just waiting a little bit. Plus, then they were waiting for the whole IPO, the drop, and get done with, and see what that was going to be like and everything else. So, seems like they're doing a whole lot of prep and waiting on a lot of different features surrounding Starbase.
Yeah, I fully expect that the area next to the storage lot is going to be that's actual going to be Rio East when all is said and done.
I'd imagine. But then also, with that whole land swap and everything, kind of being approved, there is a whole lot of land out here that is getting ready to be SpaceX's, which will be interesting to see how they start expanding it everywhere else as well.
Houses across the street from those houses right there, that's going to mess up the viewing from the areas over there.
Yeah, depending on how tall they make everything. Yeah, likely will.
They've got to be 2-story high.
Which basically everything is here. If at least getting on the roof.
I just think about Rocket Ranch's area and Maria's area. Those areas are on the ground.
Yeah. Well, they'll just have to build up, I guess. A little bit more work on these two homes. Getting this top upper level concreted in. But otherwise, not a whole lot of work going on over here. I think when we were talking last week and you were saying like the quarter mile away kind of thing, and I was thinking it was up here, I'd imagine they probably are talking about over in here, a quarter mile down the road, basically, from this shot.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of straighten that out with because we were kind of had conflicting ideas last week.
Oh, I probably should have posted that. But yeah, it was kind of random because I'm usually used to seeing SpaceX post it, and then all of a sudden it was a Tarpon Heavy non-SpaceX posting. So I was like, oh, that's odd.
Yeah, absolutely. And a quarter mile would line up to either one of these for sure. All right, so let's jump on over to the airport lot. Did anyone look at this very much this week? Because I did not, unfortunately. I did not have the chance.
Yeah.
Must have been very neglected.
We're doing it live.
Yeah. I mean,
Doors
I don't
closed.
see really any change.
Oh, hey, you know what? We got Alex this time. Hey, Alex, what is that thing next to the door?
That's very nebulous.
It's a pipe-looking thing.
Hold
It's like
on.
steel, and it's like
There
a
we go.
tube, and there we go.
I think Jake had talked about this last week, right?
Looks like an exhaust stack, if I had to guess.
Yeah, he's still around, Jake? Is he?
No.
Nope.
He pieced out.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, I
I
haven't
can't
looked
remember
into it.
what he said it was last week.
Isn't that one of the silencers they have at the Deluge gas generator farm?
It could be.
What is the little triangle things poking out from it midway up?
Mounting
think-
brackets? See if I can get a photo.
I think it's what Jake said, but
Yeah, it almost looks like it mounts to something back here, and then you've probably got some kind of bars that come off to somewhere.
Yeah, that's if you. Well, up on my screen, if anybody's looking,
Well, I'll swap
Looking.
you over real quick.
you can swap back because that's just.
Yep, you're on there now.
Yep. So that's how those are mounted.
Very cool.
So, yep. That's all I got.
So, what is that? I'm sorry.
They're the mufflers essentially for the vents on the high pressure tanks or high pressure cryogenic plant tanks for their bog.
Very, very cool. So otherwise, we're not seeing a whole lot of movement on all this pallet racking still. I mean, that thing's still sitting there. This is still sitting there. So it doesn't seem like they've done a lot this week, honestly.
They go in spurts.
Seems like it.
Nothing's jumping out that is new.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it at all. Same stuff hanging out down here as was last week. I mean, a couple things have moved around, but really not enough to really write home about. These new ones are still hanging out.
yeah, I want to say the I don't know what it was, gas manifold or whatever that was, is gone now. It used to be in that kind of doorway.
And Jake was kind of hoping that this would be ripped off by this point from the wind.
Years. Been like 3 years, 3 or 4 years we've been wanting to see what's under there.
Yeah, he was all hopeful last week. He's like, oh, it looks like it's starting to get ripped. Hopefully the wind will take it out so we can actually see what the heck it is.
It's been like that for a while.
Yeah, not really much change over here. So we'll head on over to the port. I can see him doing a lot more pile work and doing it on the ground this time. I wonder why they took a break out here.
Or it's a barge, maybe they.
Yeah, just very weird because we saw this first row go in pretty darn fast. And then as they started on the second row, it has been painfully slow.
They may have prioritized the ones on land.
Yeah, very possible. Maybe so they can start getting stuff built up here while jumping back out here to finish these off.
Pretty sure they could drive those independently. Because ones on the waters are driving from a barge.
Mm-hmm. And still a lot to go, as we can see. There's still a bunch of them out here. Just ready and waiting to go. And I think we were saying that we expect that they are going to bring them all the way down here as well and kind of come in and attach and close off all of this.
That looks like a boat ramp of sorts. That'd be strange for them to close it off.
That's what I was about to say. I expect that's still actively being used.
I mean, it looks like it. I can see some tracks down there. So do we think maybe it'll stop here then, or possibly come down a little bit farther? Just not really sure, huh?
Have to look at the plans if they've been public.
The part that goes in toward land is probably it. It probably goes not out there because there's no pilings in that piece of dirt.
Yet.
Just where the pilings, it'll go straight out from the pilings and nowhere else probably.
Yeah, another thing we'll keep our eye on. We can see a bunch of the tanks hanging out and waiting. Look, one's getting loaded up.
The other weird tanks.
The vertical tanks.
No, the 3 horizontal tanks.
Oh,
They got some nifty things on them.
Yeah, they have a lot. They're like nothing at Starbase.
so where do you think they might be going or used for?
Might not even be for SpaceX, to be honest. I mean, they appear that they could have a bottom port like a deluge. They have inlets on either the front and the back. They appear that they also might have some inlets on the top.
So really, these could be for the LNG plant, possibly even.
They could be for the LNG plant. They could be for the liquefaction plant. But yeah, they right in the centers, all 3 of them have that little bump out in their tarps right there. On the top, you can see there's 2. Yep. So yeah, they're not. The 4 vertical tanks on the ground could be for the deluge.
These are not the tanks you are looking for.
Oh, there's I mean, but those 4 tall vertical ones are the same construction that they've been using for their high pressure the tanks for doing the pressure building. So those 4 could be for the deluge. Those 4 small ones, no clue.
Do you think these could be used for the extension of the rocket garden that we're expecting is going in right now?
I wouldn't expect that for the rocket garden. Possibly, I thought they would run it off of a common instead of having a multiple one-off gas generation or pressure areas. They could be.
Let me bring that picture up real quick so we can kind of look.
Yeah, didn't they used to have individual ones and then they consolidated and made one common system after a while?
Correct. It's just a lot easier for so many reasons.
So this was what I was thinking, that maybe you have one for each spot, possibly.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
but
one for all 4 spots. There used to be one at each spot, and then they built that one that handled all 4 spots.
Hmm.
which would tend to make sense if they've, because each vehicle has its own pressure controller, but storing its own liquid, I mean, it's just a dumb pipe. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my only thought for those vertical tanks. Maybe, possibly for this extension or expansion.
Yeah, I'm not even sure those are going to be for SpaceX, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they totally could be for the LNG plant, and it's not like they don't need a whole ton of them.
That's that new lot on Highway 4 that they've been leveling is 50 parking spots for starships.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only way we'll know is if those tanks are in the port connector lot in the next flyover.
Yeah, because that should be significantly less tanks than it had previously.
Yeah, all 4 of the large ones that were there are now at the launch site.
That's a power plant.
Okay.
Okay.
I just saw the crane. I was like, what's he building over here?
Yeah, I think that's a natural gas power plant.
As we've been seeing these taken apart. Speaking of tanks, this is the other tank lot.
2 of those rolled out last night.
These 2 did?
Yep.
Nice.
They should be over next to the methane tanks if they've set them.
Looking forward to seeing that this weekend. All right, quick update on the battleship event, dudes. The old JFK
It's a
aircraft
weird looking
carrier.
battleship if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, just still more pulling apart.
They could just stop now and make it a reserve Starship landing site.
Or barge. I'm sure you could put a couple on there side by side. Yeah, we have a few viewers that really like to see the update on this every week and how far they've gotten into the scrapping process. Looks like they're really getting right down to level there.
Yeah, the front end right there, you can see the excavator with the claw. So they're really tearing into it now.
Mm-hmm.
Loves a claw.
Yeah, last week we saw this guy attached to him still, like bringing him over. The pincher. Yeah, he's definitely tearing it up good and quick.
Yeah, those shears are no joke.
It's a heck of some pipe work. Good job, whoever did that one. Talk about symmetry. All right, keep moving on. Okay, this is what I saw. Just a barge.
The barge.
Yeah. A lot of solar on this one. Carridanese power ship. Pretty cool.
They just put a bunch of gas turbines on a barge and call it good.
Heck yeah, why not? Okay, let's see where we're at here.
Looks like they're doing more testing at Massey's of 39.1 right now.
Oh, very cool. Be sure to check that out, guys, after the show.
Speaking of that, when is our next flyover? I think Mauricio had it scheduled after the last flyover, correct?
Yes, Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time. And Indy will be producing and managing that one this week.
Don't everybody cheer at once?
Yay! Woo!
Alex, Darth, be ready to get up early with me.
There'll be ITAR. There'll be ITAR clouds protecting us.
Yeah, that's 6 a.m. in my world. I'll still be snoring.
So this is a really neat view. As we can see the entire LNG plant. See where they come into the port. And this is that land that SpaceX is trying to lease still. And then we can see Giga Bay and the factory and the launch site in the background. It's kind of a good view to possibly see where the pipeline is coming through. Is that right, Event Dudes?
So it's kind of funny. I was looking at all the photos and we missed like the perfect view by like inches each photo. It was kind of funny. But
Oh.
yeah, if if we look, we can actually see the direct.
That one was a
Yeah.
good view.
Yeah. I was gonna say go back to that other one. You can see the direct line in the sand, if you will, there, and that's almost where exactly it's going to go upwards. We'd have to like switch to a different view. But if you imagine the pipeline going from the launch site along the road, I'm guessing we'll have to find out. But through that area, we know as a fact now from the port filing, and it's going to go up, up that sideways, and it's going to go all the way up until it hits the sandy dune looking thing in another photograph I saw. No,
Yeah.
not that one. It's a sandy looking dune thing. No, it's to the right. It's to the right.
I don't
There we
know.
go. That one. There we go. This is the one. So we're going to hit this sandy dune looking thing according to the sheet. And it's going to go up to that little, I'll call it a teardrop off of that square sand dune area. Yep. Keep going. Keep going up though.
And
And it
stop!
hits in that teardrop area. And then it's going to make it a direct 90. We don't have the other end of this, but a direct 90 underneath the channel there, of all things, which is crazy.
Oh, just off screen. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No,
And I think the other one we had was
isn't
clouded.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the shots that we were just looking at before the LNG plant, you could see this scar in the ground of where the pipeline is actually running.
Yeah, this is a great shot here. If you can look to the left where the power lines are, we can see kind of where the pipeline's coming into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the pipelines they're still installing.
But it's in the cloud on this photo if you're wondering where it's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
But it is right around here is where their lot's going to be, I believe.
Well, they're renting I don't know, leasing an area to connect, right?
Yeah,
Connect
and probably to launch the horizontal bore.
Well, yes, they have to do the under the channel $1 million boring there.
Yeah, and it's because you have 3 pipelines there. You have the Valley Crossing, the Rio Bravo, and then there's a Valley Crossing spur. It's that about 10 miles to the west of here, I guess, or would it be the north of here? It's where it branches off the Valley Crossing. which strangely the Valley Crossing crosses over the channel, probably in the cloud's mid-frame.
Yeah, we're actually
Yeah.
talking about this, but it's super strange. They already had that pipeline, and it's like, why not just top off of there, considering it's going to go through your property? But yeah, I guess we're going to go this other route and just do our own thing.
I think there's going to be a metering location there because eventually, potentially, when Texas LNG gets built, it's also going to be tapped off in that same area where SpaceX tapped off.
Yeah, and I did look it up. It was the Agua Dulce all
Field.
connection area. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
running both those pipelines, so they both run down from that.
Yeah, and the LNG that comes down is already around 97 or 98 methane. It's fairly clean. It's already been cleaned up once.
Yeah, and we can talk about this when we get to the launch site or what we want to do. But what I was bringing up last week was this idea that they're going to pipe in this gas and they're going to treat the gas, and then they're going to basically have another area, or maybe it's the same area, that they're going to take out all of the heavier butane, ethane, propane stuff, and then they're going to liquefy it. And I was making sure that we were not, for whatever weird, crazy thing SpaceX was going to try to do, is try to liquefy it first and then purify it in its liquid state.
They will, to extent, it's a train, just like they're building here for the LNG plant. Whether or not, whether they're going to compress it or they're just going to use the plethora of LNG, of LIN, liquid nitrogen, that they're going to have from their airset plant to cool it, or they're going to compress and expand it. Those are the two ways. I'm assuming, and we'll know pretty soon, by the size of the LN2 line that runs from the airset plant, which way they're going to be doing it. Because for the amount of liquid LNGs they're going to generate, most of the time they don't bother with the whole compressor setup. They just, since you're already have it, it's fairly clean. And then you're going to do you're just going to liquefy, and then you're going to boil off. You're going to just fractional distill out to get out that ethylene, all the higher chain hydrocarbons. It's the same thing. There's a whole bunch of columns if you look at the LNG plant of its trains where they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, so I was thinking we weren't going to do the exact same thing as the giant plant, but we would do something else. But actually, the LN2 idea, I like that. Instead of doing just compression and expansion, you would actually bring over the excess. But I guess to that point, we would see some massive lines and trenches being dug at some point in the launch site. The question came up last week as well, is what do you think they would do for all of the excess waste gases, butanes, whatever else? Are they just going to burn it, or are they going to treat it?
Burn it, or you're going to have to tank it and ship it. And it's fairly cleaned up, so you don't have a lot of liquid condensates already. So this is just going to be originally they had a power plant that when they're for the original liquefier to just burn that stuff, but that's subsequently fallen by the wayside. But that would be the easiest way, is just to flare it or have a gas turbine.
Yeah, and we didn't see anything about having an actual power plant over there, but that might be an alternative idea.
Originally they're going to put like a 250 to 500 megawatt power plant at the launch site, but that was back in 20, one of the original plans. It might have been the failed expansion. That was when they were saying, "Oh, we're going to drill." It's like, you're not, the amount of LNG or natural gas you're not getting from a dry oil field here. So yeah, it's always when's the 12-inch pipeline coming in. The fact they're going with 16 kind of also points to the volume of flight they're expecting to get out of here in the future.
Yeah, I was curious. I speculated that that was just a future-proofing idea, and also you could do lower volume, so lower pressure, so you didn't have to do any kind of high-pressure gas line. But you're thinking they might actually use the full capacity of that line?
It's at a later point, yeah. I mean, I don't think you would. The expense of pulling, I don't think you'd put a 16-inch if you didn't need to, because a 12-inch would have been fine. A high pressure 12-inch would have worked for the volumes they needed.
Would you gone
And
Avril
so,
Lavigne or Creed?
what size pipe are they planning to run through here?
16-inch.
16. Okay.
Yep.
So stick with me on this crazy one. We get the boring company in here. We make a connection between this highway and this area where basically you're saying it's going to come in anyway, and you just run the 16-inch pipe through that anyway. Not saying they do it, but I mean, hey, why not, right?
I wouldn't try and get that through the various levels of approvals.
Yeah.
Plus, that's not where you'd want a road access. I mean, that's halfway between Brownsville and Port Isabel is where you're coming out. So you've lengthened some people's drives instead of shortened it.
Yeah, just thinking you could set it up as like a public works project, maybe get some funding, etc., offset the huge cost it's gonna take anyway. But again, that's just wild, fun speculation.
There's an event on Thursday, or was it Friday, that SpaceX made a money machine.
Can I order one?
Well, you would have had a good job there a few years back, and you would have been fine.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. But no, I mean, for putting in the regulations around pipelines and stuff, yeah, just do whatever is standard in Texas.
But can they bore through the South Bay, or are they just going to pull a trench and drop it in?
The fact that we haven't seen anything they're probably going to just do a horizontal bore the bulk of the way.
That makes the most sense to me, because that South Bay is awfully sensitive. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, I mean that border they have that runs along the San Martin easement is, they excluded that explicitly as a utility area buffer from the land bank. So this was in their long-term plans for quite a while.
And wasn't the bedrock here like old oyster beds or something like that?
I think there's shrimp beds in there is what they're worried about. They're
Right.
worried about rainwater runoff coming off the roof of the factory into this bay, but they don't care about the other side of the highway.
There's a lot of folklore around if the water coming off the roof or if it's coming off rained onto the ground, it's the same volume of water that would be entering the bay. So
yeah, but a SpaceX tire may have gone through the concrete between the building and
this is yeah. There's no arguing with certain groups.
Yep,
Yeah,
right. I agree. I'm just saying that my point was that this is the area that they worry about. The South Bay is the sensitive area that they cry about all the time.
Yeah, when they did the Valley Crossing, I think the bulk of it they did across here was all horizontal board.
Well, while we're on the LNG plant, we can see a lot more piles being finished up for this third tank. We've gotten way past halfway. So I'd imagine we'll probably see these piles finished up in the next week or two. And then
That's optimistic.
well, I mean, this was about 3 weeks roughly. And we've gotten a little bit more here. So that's what I mean. Probably, hopefully in a couple of weeks, they'll knock out the rest of that. And maybe we'll start to see some forms going up and a little bit of upwards movement.
Yeah. And what cracks me up for all the people for why aren't there containment walls around the launch site for the liquid methane? I present to you these two LNG storage tanks. There's no walls, there's no barrier, they're just there.
And they're massive.
Yes.
What did each one hold again? 4 million pounds or something like that?
I thought it was like 150 times what SpaceX's storage, total tank storage was. It might be higher. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
Is it like... want to say like 140,000 cubic meters or something obscene.
Yes, it's 180. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty close.
Close enough for government work. Lots more racking being finished up. We've been seeing some of these pipes getting finished connected as well. As we can see, there's still some more connections to be made, but they're really making a good dent into it. Seeing down here, starting to get connections put across. And just a lot of construction all over. Just, wow.
That's...
We've got the electrical area, which, yeah, still doing, oh my gosh. Sorry guys, my brain is not fully on today. I've had a long day, so please excuse me when I basically hiccup during all of this. So we've got piles and foundation work going on here. Have been doing this for a little over a month now. We've started to see a bunch of these forms and things going in. So massive amounts of foundational work coming over here. And we can see lots of buildings going up all over the place. Lots of buildings. I think one of these was just finished recently. Yeah, just so much going on over here. We saw a lot of trenching going through here in the last couple of months as well. Lots of conduit runs and piping and
electrical.
Yeah, Bear Electrical.
Yeah, it's direct berry.
Yeah, for sure. But we did see a lot of conduit underneath. If we have further ones, let's see. Yeah, they pretty much buried all of it. Basically finished all the way down through here. It's all throughout this trench that we saw it. If you guys go back for our YouTube and Patreon members, you can go back roughly about a month to 6 weeks and you'll see the big pipes of conduit and stuff that they've been laying down in that area. Another train getting going, and another one right next to it coming in soon.
Load of deep soil mixing going on too.
Mm-hmm. Our third Flame Stadium, making some good progress.
Oh, see, funny, in middle frame on the bottom, there's the tower, a column down. That one with a bulb on top and skinny. That's a ethylene removing condenser. In case one was wondering.
So just cleaning up that gas.
Yep.
Yeah, would you like to go into a little bit of kind of how the gas comes in and just a couple of the things that get taken out and separated, basically?
Not today.
Okay. Well, I know we've got, the ethylene, of course.
Yeah, there you lots of long, short chain hydrocarbons you pop out. But like all good process stuff, it's fun with temperatures and pressures.
And Martin, you were hot micing again. So yeah, as we see, just more being built, more and more and more. We've got our pipe racks coming in over here. Basically concrete to hold these massive puppies. Just the scale of this thing is just absolutely incredible. Very cool. So yeah, it's set up to do, I believe, 8 trains currently with the extension up to 10.
Yep. And they're talking about their first gas at the end of the year, which I'm kind of curious if they would go directly all to the Flame stadiums, which would be kind of awesome if that's what they did to start it off.
Please.
Yeah, I know we all want to see that.
At night would be fine too. I'm all right with that.
Yes, yes, please. I put my $5 in. All right, and Chrome Key, we did come up with something really quick, so I want to go back to that. So we were talking about this area with some work possibly going on with the pistons and the test articles that we had seen recently. Well, he made a nice little render here. That kind of shows basically what we think is going to happen and how they will attach and be used. Very great render, Kiwi. We appreciate that. Helps to be able to visualize it just that little bit better. I know some people were having trouble trying to figure out what we were talking about because, in overhead shots, it's a little bit difficult to talk about sometimes, but things like this really help cement that visual.
So seam checker? Because I don't know what else torsion-wise this would be pulling on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that would be about the only thing I could think, making sure that the internal rib structures are as solid as they need to be, and yeah, seams and stuff, likely.
But why?
I couldn't tell you why, but that would be my guess.
Could it also be to secure the bottom for when they do the actual torque testing of the grid fins?
Would they need to, since the bottoms are bolted down?
I was just thinking of the forces being put through the actual tank walls.
I don't know why we didn't say it. Breakover. No, I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
no, I get what
no,
you're
no,
saying though.
yeah.
I see where you're going with it.
Yeah. Because it's going to be formed like this on the breakover when it's horizontal. So are they going to try to push into one of them specifically? I don't know why it's this one or that one or whatever section of the barrel it is, but that's.
Well, yeah, and also could these pieces be for the breakover itself also for when they are doing transporting, just for a little bit of extra support possibly? Not in the texting structure.
I guess I would want to see a ring, like a sample, like what they have over in the breakover area, like a ring like that or something to be in between, to make more of a applied area for force.
Yeah, because it really looks like the front cradle will just have like some rubber padding on it, and it'll just be laid on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we do have the front and rear basically, but we have not really seen anything for the center.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Little bridge across.
Yeah, especially with that massive stiffener they have in the lock stick. Just saying.
And yeah, just another thing we're going to keep our eye on.
I mean, that
Add it to the
landing
list.
tank will put a weird load when it's horizontal. What, Indy?
I said add it to the list.
The crow list?
Any list you want to add it to, my friend.
And speaking
Right.
of Andy, I think we'll give you a chance here for a second.
Sure, we want to thank Pete 2.0 for his $10 Australian donation. And he says, Plain Juice Fun. Thank you, RGV Aerial Photography, for all you do for us. And then we also want to thank Martin for his 5 gifted memberships. Thank you both so much.
Any questions so far?
Nope, you answered them.
Does Pete 2.0 have a release point releases associated? Sorry.
All right, first to say it.
VR or it's a direct range beacon. I
Miniature
forget.
golf course.
No, it's
That
for
beacon.
it's a beacon for planes.
It's even listed on Google.
Bowling pin.
Yeah, we don't see this very often, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers don't know exactly what it is.
It's called a VOR.
Yeah, I thought I mumbled VOR, but thanks, Alaska.
Yeah, I stepped out for a second, so I didn't
Oh,
see
good.
it.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if it was what kind of directional beacon it was. I thought it was VOR, but I just mumbled it just in case I was wrong.
It can have DME built in with it too, so it can be a VOR DME. It can be a VORTAC, which means it's also sending out the military TACAN signal, but the main object is VOR.
Very cool.
And I haven't looked at the Brownsville aerial map for a long time to know which nav aid they have sitting there, but it's one of those 3.
Okay, so the concrete
Batch plant.
Yep,
Get
concrete batch plant. He got it. 5 points to Alex.
gets nastier by the month.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely starting to accumulate a little junk, that's for sure. Now we're going to go up towards the brown lot and the steel lot.
Hopefully not the brown steel lot.
there
Everything
is
here
about
brown steel. What do you mean?
Yeah, there is a bit of brown steel in here, that's for sure. Still a lot of gigabase steel out here. Little by little, it is being taken out there. We did see all those rails that the bridge cranes ride on. We saw all those over here and getting modified, and it looks like they have all gone to the build site and been put into the Mega Bay.
There's a couple still there.
Or Giga Bay. Yeah, there are, just a few still left. You are correct. We did see a lot of them being worked on here, as well as over here, which this is now gone. Not much to report on, though, otherwise, just basically a steel holding lot. Maybe some of the upper beam landings.
Those are the roof trusses.
Yeah, that's yeah. Looks exactly like some of the ones that are being put together and hung on those little holders.
Correct.
Let's see. There we go. It looks kind of like these lower sections. Okay. Now over to the brown lot. Still
And
seeing. Go ahead.
Those white ones very much, some of them do look like they're building the truss columns like the OG Star Factory.
Yeah, and we haven't seen active painting going on, so I'd almost bet that they are completely finished with the painting aspect, but we have been seeing a lot of pipe work, that's for sure.
Pipe work at SpaceX?
Never. And if we look towards the front of the site, right off the main highway, would you like to take this one, event dudes?
Sure, yeah. We stumbled into this last week, and I guess I stumbled into it at some point. But they're gonna make a water connection, and they have to do that to Brownsville in order to send it to Starbase and send it to the launch pad. So this is a holding tank, and it makes sense. And they finally released, or I actually missed it, an easement for this, and it's actually a reverse easement, I guess, if you want to call it that. It's actually Starbase giving, or SpaceX giving a easement to Brownsville to be able to put the pipe water into this. So that's going to be a project that is either done. I was trying to see if we had any kind of like fresh marks coming into this, but we did see that. It also said possible wastewater, which is interesting. So it was definitely water. I don't see any wastewater, honestly. I don't know what they'd be doing with that, but that might be some just water they can't spill off and they have to put it somewhere.
Right, and this is a SpaceX owned lot as well, so we see that
Yeah,
they do own this entire square here as well as this little kick out right here.
and something I forgot, they don't own the other uh, lot. Well, actually, either one of them for that matter. They don't own the parking lot at the corner. They don't own the WW Steel lot, as far as the listings are concerned. So it makes sense that if you're going to install a water, somewhat permanent station, if you will, that's going to supposedly push water down to Starbase, then you would want to have it on your own land. And yeah, this is a very awkward lot with that little what I assume was originally supposed to be a housing lot, but they just bought that and then they added it to their section. Yeah, you can see some pipes there, yeah.
Yeah, it almost looks like a slight separation, basically. Water, I don't know, fire, or could be the, I don't know.
They did the same thing with the pump house they have behind Mega Bay 1. Some of the lines went red for reasons that we all originally speculated that it was fire related, but I don't think so. I don't think that's a fire red.
Yeah, it definitely looks darker,
Yeah.
which
But
almost made me think waste, possibly.
well, the blue is all potable, and I think these tie in. I think it might just be some sort of treated towards cast iron, but I'm just talking out my backside right now.
Yeah. And isn't waste pipe in Texas purple?
That's treated waste.
Okay.
That's yeah.
Green would be waste, purple's
Black
treated.
no, black is waste.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, black water is always black.
So is the main purpose of this thing is to have a pump station there to increase the pressure for the distance they're pushing the water?
I think it's more of a they're going to pump the water into that as a holding station and then kind of have it as a buffer tank. That'd be my guess of why it's sitting there like that. I don't know what pressure Brownsville's at, so that also might be the case. They have to it's a pretty long run out to the Starbase.
The other thing it might be is a storage tank for the local communities up there, which may not be on public water. They might have wells.
Well, it's SpaceX. It's not for Brownsville.
All right. And that is basically everything that I have at the moment. Did you want to go ahead and do the ASU now, Alex?
Real fast, we have a question about Gigabay from Brian Airy.
Sure.
He's wondering, when will the bridge cranes need to be installed? He thought they would have been installed by now.
Probably the roof beams have to be installed well before those girders will be lifted in. So yeah, we'll probably see him show up. We probably won't see any evidence when they're being installed because the building will probably be all sealed in by that point.
Also, with the roof trusses being installed, that should allow them to remove the temporary bracing they have in there.
Yeah, good point.
Any other ones, Indy?
That's it so far. Thanks, guys, for answering that.
All right, Alex, then we're going to switch over to you.
Oh, I was just going to go through the launch site. Just the ASU, because that's kind of... So...
Do what you want. It's all you now.
Oh, no, that's horrible. You made a terrible, terrible, terrible mistake. Why would you do such a thing?
I like making bad choices from time to time.
I mean, that was a dreadful choice that you just did. Seriously, Darth. I mean, I'm completely... My brain just went to mush right now. So let's see, what excitements did we have? We already touched on where it looks like they are going to capture the ship's LOX bleed and bring it back to the tank farm like they're doing with the booster, but we'll see if that's indeed what they're doing. Let's see. What didn't we touch on that was interesting last week? Oh, we have the skids for the 2 new tanks for these 2. So, and I think they've already been lifted into place. I thought I saw them either today or yesterday.
Yeah. Second one definitely went up today or yesterday.
So They are definitely, it looks like they're expanding their low nitrogen storage capacity, which is kind of nice. The 2 tanks for here, they moved last night. Not sure where, I'm assuming they're parked down here where they like to stash tanks, but not 100% sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about them actually rolling into place yet.
Yeah. These are my favorite. These, they're taking prefabbing and pre-doing everything to new levels, where the anchor bolts for the speed core walls, they're pre-installing them into their little racks, so we'll just have to lower them down and put a little rebar around them when they're assembling the pile cap. So that should speed up that whole process tremendously. Anyway, this building is officially gone, I believe. So,
Which
everybody
somebody's a little happy about.
I don't know who. I have no idea who's happy to see this go. I mean, with
It
that
is
alone,
officially gone. Officially gone. All of it.
nice. Like the addition of shear studs that they added to the speed core. That's should keep concrete but happy. Let's see what was there at the ASU that was interesting. Oh, those stacks that we saw that Matt showed us earlier. There's, I think, 5 slot locations right up here for those. Probably will hold off on the whole chiller loops. Because, yeah, we'll hold off on those. I'm no fun today. Go on, Dirk.
I was gonna say I would expect to go over that as soon as they get all this conduit done.
Yeah,
Because that's gonna be the next stage of evolution.
I mean, they're almost done with this, and then, yeah, this crane's going to have to head over that way because they're going to build a building over around this. This entire rectangle here is going to have its own. Let's see, what was there? Sorry, I didn't prep much. I prepped even less than Matt.
That's difficult.
Well, I have a couple of questions for you when you're ready.
Oh, please bail me out with questions. I prefer that.
Okay, Des is wondering, the heat exchanger on the beach side of the ASU, what is it doing?
Heat exchanger on the beach side. Let me see if I will guess that Des is referring to this one? Question mark?
Highly likely.
You end up with a lot of very cold nitrogen, dry nitrogen that is basically a waste product. So a lot of that they'll route it through and they'll use it to help cool down the water because it's already cold. Might as well try and do a little bit of energy recovery. So I believe that's what that one is for, because you have the small liquid line going in and you have a larger gas line coming out. And then the 2 coolant cycles and loops in one of these 2. think this is where the outflow will go down, head over to the cooling, to the where the trains are over there, down that way. And then where I'll come back, it'll be routed, I believe, from this line to service that there's 4 intercoolers here to cool that, and then it'll be collected up in one of these, and then of course the loop will continue. I'm pretty sure that's what that loop is about. And then these 2 are the main larger lines that'll be popping in and going to cool off the main air compressors. All 12 intercoolers, I think, are in here. Still missing. There should be an aftercooler for the air that's coming out from the main compressor hull, where typically there'll be direct contact, so they'll spray water in with it, and that'll help get out any water-soluble contaminants in the airstream before it heads over to the pre-purification stage over here and into one of these temperature swing adsorption columns where the molecular sieves will absorb out the water and CO2. And so yeah. I don't know, I rambled well past the question, I believe. I'm having a feeling. So what else do you have, Indy?
Ruby Knight's wondering, would the incoming gas line piping be underground or above ground?
From which gas line? The high pressure natural gas line should probably be all underground. Safer.
Well, and same with ASU too, correct?
The ASU, there should be 2 large intakes on these 2 pads. Last week, I don't know if this week you could see there's the round holes, or where the intakes are coming into this building. But yeah, the main air intakes are going to be over here. So opposite the beach. So what else, Andy?
All for One is wondering, SpaceX, he often wondered why SpaceX doesn't stack these tanks. Is it to limit exposure or separate regulations, like containment walls?
It's price. You can do anything. And I think I've posted in one of the channels there, you can even get these size tanks. You can stack. They do make a version of them that stacks. Essentially, you just have the steel, sort of like a big box girder around the tank, and then the other tank sits on top. So it's more of, is it economically viable? And because the added height, now you have other wind forces or seismic forces that you have to contend with. So you have more ground loading. So it's a balance whether or not, if you're in a very space constrained site, then yeah, making a larger tank. And for a lot of these, since they're running these, I think at around 4 atmosphere, so they're about getting close to as large as that. Again, it all comes down to your engineering and how much you're willing to spend for material. But like the tanks at the port, they're being held essentially at atmosphere, which was one of the main issues. That was the vertical tanks that they were having here. I don't think they were designed to operate at a higher pressure, and so the pumps need a minimum amount for the volume that they move and how much pipe's diameter you kind of want the higher pressure. And again, I'm just rambling past the stacking. You can stack them if it's whether or not it's economically viable for the site, probably not.
Hey, Alec.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Cumulus. Good afternoon. Another thing about vertically stacking horizontal tanks, with LOX, it's not so bad, but if you've got combustible products on board, such as CH4 or hydrogen or whatever, if you spring a leak in the lower tank and it catches fire, it cooks off the tank above it instead of venting directly to the atmosphere. So you'd have a fire safety issue stacking those puppies vertically.
They
is
do it
my
on
guess.
they do it on ships all the time. These 4 methane tanks, there's maybe, you know,
Well, they may do it on ships all the time, but we have to look at the structure they've got there.
well, these tanks are right next to each other. If one of these rung a leak, you'd have the same issue.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But also double stacking, would that expose the top layer to overpressure from the launch, considering how close it is to the pad, out of curiosity? You're the expert on that
I
sort of stuff.
I haven't. I mean, how much more pressure they'd be getting hit, and how much more wind? Again, that's where it's the engineering constraints. Is it worthwhile? Is it financially worthwhile?
Oh, yeah,
With the
absolutely.
copious application of cash, you can engineer darn near anything. Whether or not, I mean, you can build try and build a building 1 kilometer in the middle of the desert tall if you want to. But yeah, it's. I mean, from strictly a safety point of view, making your tanks dense storage like this, it's sort of, but again, people who put their wet stamp on it approve these situations. So I'm assuming they're safe. We're safe enough for whatever level of risk they're accepting at the launch site.
For the folks in YouTube who are chatting about the direction of the plume, if you've got access to our Discord and pop up the studio voice comments, I did post some views of the directions the various plumes will travel in. I submitted those back at the end of May. They may help you visualize better for the folks who are asking about plume direction in our
I mean,
comments.
the plume here will just shoot this way for portion, depending how much of a kicks they're putting at the end of the trench. And I mean, the speed of the plume coming out of there dissipates fairly rapidly, and it starts transitioning to vertical. And I, again, without sort of clocking what the plume velocity is, and again, it's just like wind loading in hurricanes type, like how fast is the flow coming at you.
Correct.
So the ASU, I don't think will be a problem. It's it's a fair distance away as it is. These 2 tanks have been subjected to all the fun interactions.
I have that picture up live on YouTube currently.
Cool.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And I got one more.
I do what I do best.
I got one more question for you, Alex.
Go for it. I have much today, so.
Blah Blah's wondering, why did the air separation facility at Sanchez get demolished?
It was old, it wasn't economical, and they didn't have enough power. ASUs pretty much since you're running them full tilt for max efficiencies, you'll usually design your for the local climate. So if you bought one on the used market that was for, I don't know, just spitball here, Denmark, and you're putting it in Texas, the 2 climates are going to be so different that one of them's will not be efficient to run. So because it's everything that you're designing about what is the quality of your intake air, what's the temperature, and what's the moisture content. So
Yeah,
go on, Nart.
my whole thought on the whole thing was they did it at Sanchez as a learning curve. So it was them figuring out if they could do it on their own and how to do it for future expansion.
Yeah, and Highway 4, how many times has it been sort of patched over since SpaceX showed up?
So many times.
So anything to keep large. And I mean, what is it? Is it Starbase? Just something? I forgot the name of where they're getting their methane from up in Houston. But yeah, a lot of their cryogenics they were getting were being shipped everything was getting shipped from, I think, Houston down. So anything to cut down and their volumes that they were needing back then for the suborbital campaigns was minimal compared to any of their launching test campaigns. So it never had the volume to support their operation. Because time and space in land area are kind of hard to work around. So anyhow.
All right. And DMHMT is wondering, did the scorching browning of the one corner of the pancake have anything to do with aiming the deluge to avoid the tower?
Probably not. There's a natural channel that flows through there when it's going, just so that it avoids it. But it browning, all of these are engineering problems, right? And you have limits of how much water do you want to use. You can turn up the spigot to the point where you can cool a plume and de-energize it nearly completely. But why would you do that? And if you don't need to, if you can dissipate it other ways, so it heats up to 500 or 600 degrees, pick your unit of choice. Does that really change anything? Does it change the steel? How much more does it erode than if you would have cooled it down 100 degrees less? Does it? And without looking at their data, I mean, stainless steel, you can get, I think, above 1,000 degrees before you start having to worry about losing structural integrity. So yeah, and all the water they ship in, you have to justify. Water is going to be more and more people are paying attention about how much water that any operation is just frivolously using. And if you're launching daily and you're going to be, 200 million gallons a year, I don't think that's very sustainable. So yeah, any way that you can give up some of and let some of the deck heat a little bit more. Yes, it'll show a little charring, but again, is it structural? Does it matter? Things wear out. Things have finite lifespans.
Out of curiosity, Alec,
Yeah.
you've hit on something that I've wondered about. Would you foresee the need for a desalination plant to meet the water needs rather than tapping into the limited fresh water available in the Brownsville area, taking seawater and making their own water for the pad protection systems?
I mean, desalination again is a usable system. The problem is the regulatory issues. most, at least in California, desalination is frowned upon because most of the systems that are currently being employed, you have a briny waste stream, and you can't really inject it back into the ocean readily because it's heavier than seawater, and it just floats. It just sort of smothers the seafloor as it goes, and you get these very large dead areas. You could then, if you have copious amounts of power, you can, of course, mix it with seawater to dilute it before you put it in. You could have large ponds where you evaporate it. So, but again, it comes down to all these problems are solvable. It's whether or not how much added cost it incurs. Personally, I think moving these offshore at some point would be a better option. Whether or not
that would make sense, actually, Alec. That would make a lot of sense.
Well,
and especially with how shallow the Gulf is, you can go up some places 50 miles offshore and you're still within 200 feet of water, and a 200-foot in water sea platform is really, in oil and gas industry, is fairly benign. I mean, not benign, but I mean a well-known problem. So
technology exists to put a platform or two platforms or three platforms just a couple of miles offshore, and then just have either you connect out by barge or you build a bridge out there that's T-shaped, meets the middle platform and branches out to the two launch pads either side.
I mean, some natural gas terminals extend out a dozen miles offshore where they have the mooring points. So, underwater cryogenic pipelines are a thing, or at least short ones. So yeah, there's ways for them to do it. And
isn't it extremely power expensive, basically, for that entire process also, though, the desalination?
One of the issues, like, with the more solars that you have, well, use California as we're coming into the summer, you have so much excess power during the day from solar that a lot of large grid plants aren't allowed to even be turned on, and you end up having some of the producers almost having to pay so that they can take some of the power rather than just disconnecting their systems. And so running high pressure water pumps, you can run them, say, if you run just during peak renewable times.
Oh, yeah, that is a very valid point, because up here in British Columbia, BC Hydro is paid 2 cents a kilowatt by some of the coal-fired plants on the East Coast to take their excess energy overnight so they don't have to spool down, so they can stay up and running. And they actually send it out and they pay people to take their excess power, but it takes 6 hours to bring a coal or even a nat gas boiler online, I believe.
Yeah, starting up a natural gas, unless they're peakers, is a process, and they're very inefficient, and they produce quite a bit of undesirable exhaust while they're coming up to temperature and stabilizing. So, but yeah, and that's the whole idea. If you're starting to make a smart grid and you're having to build tons of excess capacity, since in a renewable grid, it's not demand driven, it's supply driven. So you have to figure out how to balance out your usage, whether it's not we just surge for when there's a lot of excess power, but you're not going to have things running steady state unless large batteries are substantially cheaper. I mean, if flow batteries are one way, but I don't think anybody's done huge multi-megawatt flow batteries yet. But yeah, and that's a whole other fun discussion on power grids, power stabilities, and supply for or demand supply driven or demand driven. So that's a discussion for another day.
I got one
And
more
if I
question
can,
for you. Oh, sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead, Mark.
before we move on, Indy, if I can make 2 points real quick, both point back to the original question. If you take a look at the top deck near the inner circle, you'll actually see the same browning that's happened in that corner. So it's not just that corner that has that same browning effect. Also, as far as desalinization, we're pretty sure there's a pump house going behind Tower 2 for the new water line that's coming in. So they are bringing in water and eliminating the MOVAX deliveries.
Yeah,
So that's not a big issue.
they used to have their own purification plant at Massey's, and Brownsville Water said, hey, we'll supply your water for you. So there's no reason to do anything else when they can get water from Brownsville.
Right on.
This is what you're talking about, Darth, the browning of the top deck.
Then now right around the ring.
Right here, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
If you take a look, it's that whole all around there, there's browning. So it's not just from the plume effect.
Couldn't that
Did he
also be from the plume effect, though? That
Yeah, I'm
browning in the
just saying.
center?
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not all from the plume effect.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
What do we mean by the plume effect?
Meaning the darkening. Because if you look all around the plate, there's dark spots. If you actually look at it closely.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a function of heating. That inner area is going to see a lot of concentrated heating, especially during the initial phase of liftoff. And then the other areas that are brown are just the areas where the plume is heating more than other places where the water is not able to cool it as quickly.
right, but whether or not it's an issue or not is up for debate of how much heating the top surface can take before
No.
it starts ablating.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there is a threshold where it's not a problem, and there is obviously a threshold when if there's molten pieces of metal flying off the top surface, that's a problem. But yeah, there's going to be areas that are going to get brown just due to the exposure to heat. Whether it's a problem or not is up to them. They'll take the measurements and they'll figure out if it's ablating or not. If it is ablating, then obviously they'll need more holes for cooling. But probably optimally, you'd want to see the minimal amount of browning on the metal surface as possible, but there's going to be areas where that's not, possible to achieve.
Well, and wasn't this the direction that the plume initially points at as it starts coming off?
When it starts to pitch down, the plume will cross there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you extend out, you can watch right after the launch. You could tell which direction the plume actually went across the ground, all the way knocked over the wall, and where it was hitting the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. I got one more question for you.
Go for it.
Aurelius Network used to he's used SCBA air compressor systems that fill with a cascade system. So he's wondering, does the tank farm fill with a cascade system as well?
I think it was Scuba. Versus, yeah, Scuba air compressor systems.
It's a multi-stage compressor that they're using. They're not going for the ASU. They're not going very pressure-wise they're probably only the higher pressure where they're using the turbo expanders are probably everything's probably is well under 100 bar. The main ones are probably around 8 to 10 atmospheres at most, and then it might be up to 40 or 50 off of. But again, it depends on a lot of factors for what they optimize ASU for. But they're not going to ridiculously high pressures for the air separation. For the rest of the tank farm, they're just pressurizing some liquid and vaporizing it and using that pressure to maintain tank pressure. But filling of the scuba tanks is more of the issues they have with the COPVs, because those COPVs are going
Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, I think on the lines that I think some of them are going up to 400 bar, if not higher. Those go up to substantially higher pressure than anything else. But
all right. Any more, Indy?
Nope.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
yeah, that's sort of the thing with why those COPVs, if they're filling the method that the procedures, if they're filling them too fast, they can overheat and fail. Not that we've seen COPVs fail, but that's one of the potential modes for why they failed, is that they overheated and delaminated.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we've basically covered everything for Xpanded this week. Unless anybody else has any other areas or questions that they'd like seen or answered.
There was just a deluge test yesterday that was interesting. I don't know if anyone else saw it.
Don't have a video of it. Yeah,
There
there's
was
one today
too. Yeah.
I didn't watch it. The one yesterday had some interesting things with it.
Yeah, that was all I was going to say. Yeah, it sounded like waves in the ocean when they were releasing the tank pressure. So must be trying some new things or trying to fix some things. I don't know.
Yeah, one of the valves they were opening and closing while they're running the Apex.
Awesome. Well, I think we will wrap it up there then. We went, probably just a little over 2.5 hours. So pretty good show tonight. So we'll go ahead and wrap things up. What's up, Alex?
Was it a good show? No, kidding.
It was a great show.
It was good. So good. All right. So, yeah, speaking of Alex, we want to say a big thanks to Alex for all of his incredible knowledge and answering of questions. He is just a wealth of it.
Thank you. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Matt. Darts, dudes, and little Kiwi. And, well, Jake looks like he left. So, thank you. And thanks, everybody who listened. Till next time.
Absolutely. Yeah, we appreciate you, Darth, stepping in from time to time and adding those little tidbits of information for us.
Glad to be here. Glad to help whenever I can.
And Event Dudes for also being an incredible wealth of knowledge when it comes to all the permitting and things that are going on in and around Starbase.
Yeah, should be a lot of things popping up here pretty soon. But since the IPO is done, we're going to be finding out a lot of more interesting licenses, permits, everything else popping up.
Yeah, I think they've got a little cash burn in their hole in their pocket. So, yeah, they should probably be chucking it around pretty quickly.
I mean, they are an AI company, so.
And big thanks to Indy for taking the questions and donations and keeping chat on their toes and happy.
My pleasure, and also thanks to Alaska and PK. Alaska for his knowledge of airplanes and all that stuff that goes with that, and PK for his architecture help.
Absolutely. Always appreciated. And QE as well for the amazing renders that he comes up with. Really helps us to be able to visualize some of these things like the breakovers and whatnot. So absolutely fantastic and much appreciated.
Thanks. Yeah,
Oh,
always
we,
happy to help.
we didn't look at the breakover. Darn it.
Weekend show. All right, so as we said earlier, our next flyover is scheduled for 9 a.m. Central Time. So look forward to that on Saturday. Let's see, we've got, just 3 more days to go before we get some new, fresh pictures so we can see everything going on in and around Starbase and all of the upgrades and changes. So until then, we will see you next time. Love, peace, and chopstick rail grease.